Hi everyone, it's Cathy from cathyzielske.com, and today I've got a tutorial to show you how to use one of my new hybrid helper layered templates. The idea behind my hybrid helpers is that you use a digital base to build a traditional scrapbook page using your computer in the process. This template is a new template. It's number 11 in the series, and it's designed to use a 6x4 snapshot in this little green area. That's where the photo goes. And what we're going to do is we're going to add our title and our story, and then we're going to send it to print. And I'm going to show you how to do this both in Photoshop Elements and in Photoshop Creative Cloud. So we're starting out here in Photoshop Elements version 13, which probably looks a lot like 14. And is there 15 now? Anyway, there's a lot, okay? We got a lot. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to pop a photo in here just because I think it helps me to think about my title and my journaling. And I've already got the photo open, and I'll show you the shot. Here is a shot of my two children, which sat side by side, both in sweatshirts of a similar color with yellow, and my son has highlights growing out on the top, and my daughter has highlights growing out on the bottom. And I realized quality-wise, this isn't the greatest shot, but I adore it. So I wanted to do a page about the two of them, where they are right now, while one's off at college and one's getting ready to finish his junior year. There's a lot of emotion for this mama, right? Now, I'm going to copy this in. Now, you know how they say when you know better, you do better? Well, there's so many ways in Photoshop to get something done. I think we can all agree, right? We know that. But I only recently started doing this method, like literally in the last couple weeks. And that is, if you want to get a photo into that template quickly, did you know you can just come over to the layer that the photo's on? You can right click, or on my Mac, it's a control click, till you get a drop down for duplicate layer. And when you click on that and you bring it up, it's gonna copy it, and you can just pick your destination. And guess what? My hybrid helper number 11 is in there already. And I can say, okay, close. Oh, and there it is. This is amazing. I'm sure there are many of you out there who are like, yeah, Cathy, get on board. I didn't know. And it copied it directly above my 6x4 layer. And now I can simply Command or Control G to clip. Of course, I'm going to hold down my Option key and size it in from the center. There we go, because I want to get as much hair as I can, but also maximize. Well, do I really want that bowl in there? No. Let's make the most of the photo. So that's basically the photo. And actually, if I went up further, look what happens. I can actually get rid of that, that photo frame. I think you see enough of the hair, right? Are we good? You know, you can use your arrow keys to move things around, and that's what I'm doing. But what I'm going to do is I will be printing this as a 4x6 using my simple PictureMate Epson personal photo printer. So that will happen later. Okay. Photos in, then it's time to start working on titles. So I'm going to zoom in by holding down either my Command or Control key and my space bar. And I get this lovely zoom tool. And I like that because I like to click and drag around my area so I can see what I'm doing. I think you need to get in the habit, if you're not in Photoshop, to zoom in to see what you're doing. Now, oh, and I just hit my magic mouse, so let's get back up there. Okay. This template comes with a free font called Open Sans. There is a link in the PDF handout, and you can download that. Of course, if you open this template and you don't have that font, it's just going to give you a warning message, and it'll replace it with whatever your system deems appropriate. So you don't have to stick with this font, okay? You can change it to be whatever you want. And I tend to go, let's see, what do I want to do here? I tend to go with a lot of the same fonts, as you guys know. So I'm going to highlight this all. I'm going to just click in with my horizontal type tool, highlight everything. I'm going to come down to this field, highlight the font field, and I think I'll just go with Avenir. It's one of my favorite fonts. I use it for pretty much everything. And maybe, do I want to go with black? Yeah, I think I want to go with black. So I'm going to click away, and there's my font. And I'm not sure what the title's going to be. Maybe, Now this is where my creative process needs to really be more nailed down, right? Because I'm not sure what it's going to be, but maybe we'll leave that for now. All right, I'm going to hit the check mark and boom, we're in. Now I'm going to come up here a little bit. This document features 2 columns. Now in Photoshop, you cannot have linking text columns as of yet. That is the domain of programs like InDesign that are designed to contain publications. So what I do in my templates is I just create 2 journal blocks. And that way I have 2 columns that I'm going to have to work on individually. So the first thing I want to do is change my font to match. So I'm going to click in here, Command or Control A, and I'm going to come in and get Avenir. I want to go, I'm actually going to type in Avenir Book. I know that's the font I want. I think I'll do the Book 45. Click on that. And now before I check mark it, I'm just going to Command or Control C, copy the formatting that I just did, check mark. I'm going to click in here. I've got a text tool and I'm going to highlight again everything, and I'm just going to go Command or Control V. Now what you'll see here is this actually runs over that circle, but once I figure out what I'm going to type in there, I'm literally going to, let me show you here. Let's say this was the sentence. You would insert your blinking cursor here. You would hit Shift Return to break the line and space bar it over. See how that works? I'm going to do it again here. Shift Return. Oh, not that one. That one's already set up. Okay. You just custom space it. I thought I could make a text. I could have made a text box that wrapped it, but I'm like, it's so simple. Anyway, check mark. Now I have changed the font to match side to side. So any change you make on the left, you would have to make on the right. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my journaling. And when I come back in, we're going to proceed. Okay, I've added in 2 columns of journaling, and one thing I like to do is I like to have what I call a read-in first line, where I bold the text to kind of just draw the eye in. And I always like to add a date unless there's a spot somewhere here in the template, which this one there's not, for the date. And I'm going to show you a little trick too. I'm going to zoom in here. I want to show you this. Sometimes with the dates, I like to bring them down a point size, and here's why. Sometimes I like my date to be closer to what is called the X height of a font. The X height is the height of the core body of any single font type individual letter. See that? And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll highlight my date and I'll bring it down. It's right now set to about 10. I'll hit 9 and then check mark. It's a very subtle typographic thing. I'm going to clear my guides here. But I do this a lot just so the date feels more, it's there, it's important, but it's not too big. Just a little tip. Anyway, and then I might change the color too. But here's what I haven't decided yet. I don't know yet exactly if I want to stick with this orange. The orange is just a base color from my corporate template palette. That's all it is. It doesn't mean you have to keep this photo. You know, the color in this right here isn't great. I mean, you know, I would normally change something like that to black and white because, you know, it's a little blown out. This was taken on my iPhone, but I think the point was to kind of show the highlights. And yeah, one thing that you can do, you can look at your photo, you can come over and grab the color picker tool, and you're going to start clicking around in that photo. And if you see what happens, if I click here, if you look over on the left under color, it will change colors. So I could try to match what was in my photo. Once I have a color, I'm going to hit my V key to get my pointer tool. I'm going to click on the title box element and then just go Edit, Fill Layer. Under Contents, I'm going to use Foreground Color. Make sure Preserve Transparency is checked, otherwise it will flood the whole layer. And I'm going to click that. So I could go with something like that if I liked. I'm actually not loving that color, but so I think I'm gonna right now just undo that and go back to it. But one thing that I am gonna do, I've got this cute little heart icon down here. It's just called heart. And I'm gonna turn that off because I know if I zoom in here, I've got so many cute little embellishments and little hearts that I wanna put a physical heart in there. You know, that's just, I have a lot of things, and this is how I use them in a very minimal fashion. So I'm going to print this out without that turned on. Another thing too is, let's say, you know, if I wanted this to be a color, this little so many stories to remember, I'm going to go back here to my orange. I'm going to hit my I key again, sample that back. I can also come in here. Well, let's click the right layer. And then again, edit, fill layer, change that to any color, or foreground color is good to go if I want to do that too. See how that works? So then I have a little visual link from there to there. Again, I'm going to undo that because I'm a bit of a fan these days of just black. It just keeps it simple for me. So the next step, once you figure all this out and you've got your journaling and you think it looks good and you pick a color here that you like, then you just come up to your photo layer and you click on the eye like that. And then this is ready to print. You send this to print on cardstock using your best photo quality settings. And you can test this out too. Sometimes, you know, if I print this to my new Epson SureColor printer, it's not going to look as great as my old printer. Everything prints a little muddy, so I might have to play around with it a bit. But I also print stuff to my laser printer using laser compatible cardstock, and that will look fantastic. So I will print this, and then I will simply plop my photo down, and this layout is done. That's the idea behind a hybrid page. Now you can also, you can put little brads in here. You can dress it up any way you like. You could even, trim this around here and come around and mount this on, a piece of patterned paper or whatever. The idea though is to take this hybrid base and use it to create the real life page. So that's how I would do this in Photoshop Elements. I'm gonna fade out and then I'm gonna come back and show you also just some real quick differences in full Photoshop. Right now I'm back in Photoshop Creative Cloud 2017. This is actually the program I work in. I have a subscription and I have to kind of keep it up to date for the work that I do. But with the exception of the photo bin being gone, they don't have a photo bin, really the processes are more or less the same. And I'm not gonna redo all the journaling, but just the key things. For example, let's go to my photo of Aiden and Cole. Again, if I come over here to the background layer, because it's its own layer, click, you get more options here, right? But I'm just gonna go duplicate layer, and again, go back to my hybrid helper template, click, I can close this, and now it's there. And again, I can clip this in. Of course, in Photoshop, if I go up to the layer menu, where are we here? I do this reflexively, but I just want to make sure. It's a different clipping mask command. Is that Control Command G? Let's try it. Command Command Option G. That pops it in, or Command Alt G. You just have one more key, right? But it's still the same concept. And of course, in full Photoshop, you have to hold down your Shift key when you're sizing it. Otherwise, if I don't, see what happens there? Okay, I'm gonna undo that. It changes your proportion. So you have to hold down your Shift key, and if you want to size from the center, you drop down either your Option or Alt and bring it in. Same idea. And I'm gonna, maybe bring it in a little bit more and come up a little bit more because I wanted to get that frame out of there, that little frame shadow. So, double click to commit the change. There you go. And next, the processes would be the same. You use here it's called the horizontal type tool, right? Same thing. Click in. Your control bar is at the top. So I'm gonna go Avenir, hit that black, and just love this photo so much. Again, coming in here, highlighting all your text in the same way. Up here, oh, come on now. My Photoshop's been running a little slow. I think my machine is taxed. I'm gonna go to Book. It changes. I'm gonna copy that. I come to the next, select all, paste it in. Again, and of course I would fix everything and add my journaling. Same process though. You're gonna come here and you're gonna turn off that layer mask once you have everything ready to go. And of course you would not have that running over there. And let's say you're gonna turn that heart off. Same idea. The processes for digital scrapbooking are very much the same. Photoshop Creative Cloud has so many options and so many things to do, but I really don't use these expanded features. There's only one way that I use an expanded feature, and I'm going to show you that real quick. I'm going to see if I can locate this photo on my desktop. Let's find, here's another one. Now see this image that I have? See how there's, nothing over his head there? Well, I got a little secret to let in. I photoshopped some of the mucky muck out of this image, and that is something that I did in Photoshop that's pretty cool, the full Photoshop. If you take your rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to go around, now this doesn't always work. I'm going to go around that light switch, that horrible light switch. You can go to Edit, Fill, okay? And you can choose something called Content Aware. Now, it'll either work great or it will work terribly, but I'm going to see what happens. It's a hit or miss. Look what happens. It takes a sampling of the pixels all the way around, and now rather than going in and having to use the clone tool, it just erased that shadow. I did the same thing up here. Look at that. I'm going to just highlight the area that I want to do. Edit, Fill, Content Aware. Boom. It preserves the lighting and everything. And I'm going to do it here too. Now, I couldn't do the other one, and I'm going to show you why. Well, let's see here. Edit, Fill, Content Aware. And again, I don't adjust the scale. I just see what happens. Boom. There it is. Now, one of the things I tried to do, I'll show you. I took the lasso tool and I thought, well, maybe I'll make like this little custom around her hair and just see what happens. But what happens if it's touching other things and you go Edit, Fill, Content Aware? It just took her head and made it smaller. So that is a more sophisticated, I'm going to undo that. This is a more sophisticated process. I mean, of course, in full Photoshop, I could come in here and I could take a pen tool and I could add a path, and then I could do a really custom clipping path around her hair and in all this, and then I could cut that and put it down on its own. There's so many things you can do, but honestly, instead, what did I do? I just cropped the photo so you didn't see the frame. Those are some of the expanded things of Photoshop Creative Cloud, right? But is it really needed when I go back to, looking at the template, turning that back on? Wait, where did my layers go? That's going to work. But anyway, that's a little extra tidbit. But again, processes for digital scrapbooking, and especially for working with my hybrid templates, are essentially the same. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email or leave a comment. But this is one way of working with the hybrid helpers. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching.